What is going on, YouTube? This is a new channel. I am Maker Undergrad. I appreciate you guys for clicking this video if you're going to watch it. I don't know what the title is going to be yet, but it's probably going to be something cool. Hopefully you clicked on it because of that. A little bit of background for me, as obviously this is a new channel. I am a senior undergrad student in mechanical engineering and materials engineering, so that makes two majors. And being in engineering, being a STEM student for a long time, I have a lot of really bad ideas. Some of them are really cool. I think all of them are really cool, but they can be dangerous. And I figured, if I'm gonna make all these things, why not show YouTube how I did it? Now, with that being said, definitely don't make these at home. Now, some of these are gonna be dangerous, especially this first one. Might lose a finger. Hopefully I don't. If I don't post anymore after this or nobody ever sees this video, assume that that's probably what happened. But assuming this video makes it onto YouTube, absolute success. With that said, if you're a fellow STEM student, engineering student, maybe trade school, if you have supervision and you have the resources to make these things that I'm going to be making, I have a pretty extensive list of things I'd like to make at some point and upload right here on YouTube, then by all means go ahead and do it. But don't try this at home. With that said, I'd like to start talking about my first project. Now, my first project I came up with, for any of you that may have seen a little show back on Nickelodeon called Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you remember this deranged woman named Azula, when she firebends and does all this funky stuff, she always uses two fingers, especially with lightning. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the means of doing lightning yet, but I can do fire. So I came up with a way, hopefully, to let me Azula firebend from these two fingers. Now, some of you may be asking, how in the world is this idiot going to do that? Let me tell you. The first item on our list, a welding glove. Keep in mind, for the remainder of the items in this video, Amazon, coming in clutch. This is where our firebending is going to take place, so that I don't lose a finger, or melt my finger, or lose my hand, or my arm, or die. The second item on our list is this. This is 1/8 ID PVC plastic tube. This is where our fuel is going to flow. For those of us wondering, oh, what's his fuel going to be? What's he going to use to burn his fingers down? Well, it's going to be a gas. Even if it wasn't a gas, you need a container. But for this, I'm going to use this lab grade, hard plastic, big capped lab bottle. Now, for anybody wondering why I'm not using metal, I'm going to have a quote-unquote pressurized gas. It's not really going to be that pressurized, but in the event that this thing pressurizes beyond the combustion point of the gas I'll tell you about shortly, I want this to blow up before anything on this blows up, because that's going to be my hand. So I went with plastic with some big weak threads so that if this thing reaches PSI of combustion, this cap's going to pop off and it's going to vent itself before it blows my hand up. Now, with any hose or any type of gas, you're going to need fittings. That means I have this splitter here because we want to go off of two fingers. I have these small adapters here, which go from a barbed hose end to the end required to mount these here. These are blunt 20 gauge needles. They are made out of hospital grade steel and should definitely be a good enough steel to resist the temperatures that are going to be coming out of this bad boy. We also have some hose clamps because we need to connect all these barb fittings, and a flashback arrestor. Now, this is a large industrial grade flashback arrestor for a acetylene oxy torch, and the reason I picked this is because you may have guessed it, we are going to be using acetylene. Now, for those of you wondering, how are we going to make acetylene gas in that bottle to travel through this tube and go through these splitters, through this adapter here, and out our 20 gauge needles to be lit? I'm not a chemist. Chemist was not my main subject. However, I did a little research and found that a fairly accessible chemical on Amazon known as calcium carbide, it just looks like some gravel out of your driveway, when mixed with the most easily accessible of resources to us, aka the H2O from your faucet. When they mix together, they release acetylene as their primary gas. Now, you must be careful. Acetylene can be very dangerous, especially if it's compressed, because once acetylene gets to roughly 15 psi, it may go boom. That's what the plastic bottle's for. Now, the last couple items on our list, pretty self-explanatory. We have these one-way check valves. The flashback arrestor is going to be straight out of the bottle, because if the flame travels back down the hose and into the bottle, that would be worst case scenario, because that's going to go boom no matter what. This should stop that. However, we also don't want any fire traveling through this tube, down the fingers, up through this. My hand is going to be in here. That's a no-no. So we get these little one-way check valves, little hose clamps, go right on these barbed ends. All of a sudden, you can only have gas going one direction. Now, in order to control the pressure coming out the end, I also have these small little valves, and these are little, standard issue hand-operated valves. And the way we're going to use this is on the tips of these fingers. The hose is going to run through here. It's going to split probably somewhere here, go up through here, out the two fingers. And we're going to have a valve on each of these so that if one is a little bit weaker than the other or whatever, we can shut it down. A big thing with flashback, oftentimes it's a resultant of pressure drop. So obviously, as the chemical reaction is going, if the pressure drops below the threshold needed to maintain the flame will travel back with the gas. A way that we can regulate that is once we see the pressure start to fall, or we have any risk at all that we're running out of the fuel in our chemical reaction over here to create the gas, I can throw these valves on either finger. It'll increase the pressure in one, decrease the pressure in the other, potentially shut both off if I need to. That way there's something easily accessible right on the top of the hand. I can just crank, done. Don't take that out of context. Our final item is this small little electric spark generator. Now, this little spark generator is just button power. There's a little AA battery that will be in here. This way, I can have this somewhere over here with me. I can run this to the end in between the two, instead of having to take a lighter and stick my other hand over there and risk losing both my hands at the same time. I can just stand back like this, press this little button, start a spark, and light it that way. In case anybody was curious, I was struggling to come up with a way to do this with some type of a long distance fire starter, and I figured, wait a minute, what if I use the spark generator off of a outdoor gas grill? So bingo, that's what we have. This is a replacement for the outdoor spark generator on a gas grill. Now, I will also be 3D printing a vast majority of fittings as well. For example, in order to go from the top end of this bottle here through this cap, or maybe through the bottom, haven't really decided yet. In order to go through one end or the other with our flash arrestor, obviously we're gonna need to orchestrate a fitting here. So rather than just drill a hole and stick this thing in there, I would like to 3D print a fitting that maybe goes from this thread here to this thread here and just screw in. 3D print's obviously not that strong. It shouldn't be really much stronger than the bottle itself, so in the event that this thing needs to blow, it shouldn't be too big of a deal for these threads to give out one way or the other. This is the adhesives of choice. It's not really anything crazy. It's made to go for any type of plastic, PVC, anything like that. I use this for 3D prints a lot, and I figured it should go pretty well with a PVC tube, and this cloth material here, any type of glue should stick that, I hope. So for starters, I think maybe it would be a good idea to measure out from the V. So I think if this goes about here on this finger, right about there maybe, I think I can put the adapter from the barb to the needle lock around here, and then should have the needle sticking off plenty to keep the flame away from my fingers. So I think I'm gonna figure out where exactly on here I wanna have this Y split first, probably somewhere around here. And I'm also debating too if maybe I want to just have one valve down here instead of two. I do think the two would be better, but I don't really know how the weight on the two fingers is going to be. We're going to need to start messing with these hose clamps. And I'm pretty sure all these hose clamps are just the standard screw type hose clamp. Now granted, these are a lot smaller than any of the ones I've messed with. They should pretty much be the same. Holy shit. I should need just two of these, one for each end. This should fit nicely right up in the end of this tube here. Definitely a snug fit, which is exactly what we want. So I think these should be a pretty good size. good. It is on there pretty good. We're going to go ahead and leave that one on there. So let's go ahead and get our little tuning tools out. Make sure you get blunt ones if you're trying this on a supervised college campus with a proper chemistry or dynamics professor. That is one thing that I've calculated quite loosely, is roughly how much of our fuel we would need to get the gas flow we're looking for. I got it close enough and said let's full send it, so I'm pretty sure I know how much we need, but I guess we'll come up with that for sure when we try it, and hopefully I don't die. So these should go on there just like that. Perfect. Our flame will come out of here. So I think if that goes right about there, we'll maybe keep it maybe just, I don't know, 1/2 inch to 1 inch from the tip of the glove. That way we have 1 inch or 2 on this end. Further away from the finger, probably the better. And then we probably want this to go just to this red here. So we'll go ahead and cut our PVC at that line, and that way we can have a mark to keep it consistent on both sides. Well, new plan. Whatever Temu sweatshop made these clamps and has them advertised at the size that should fit the OD of this hose, they need to relearn English, because their translation wasn't right, and that shit ain't gonna fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and grunt a bunch more to try to take this off, and we're gonna go with the glued method, the glue and press fit method. Hopefully that doesn't result in any flammable gas leaks in the future, but I guess that's a risk I'm gonna take. So we should only really need one of these, because we're going to be coming from one source anyway. So I think we can just roll with one. Just roll with one. Split it off. Should be good to go. I think we just need 2 small little pieces. I don't think they really need to be that big at all, because it's really only going to go from there to, say, about there. So let's say that's probably pretty solid there. Not perfect, but pretty good. Pretty good. We're gonna do that. And now I think we should probably focus on how exactly we want these things to mount. And I think we kind of just want to glue it all up to these fingies here, I think. I think we maybe want to have them angled towards each other a little bit, I would say. Just so that the spark can reach both. I'm thinking something probably like that. I think we just glue the bottom of these things up a lot and stick it on there. This is just an extra little bit of security. I'm gonna have the flashback arrestor, but if we can prevent this gas from flowing back over here before it gets to the flashback arrestor, then that should just be one whole extra layer of security that hopefully means we don't really have to worry too much about it. Now for our hose, I think we just need to go another little, just little pieces. I don't really think they need to be anything that crazy. Little side research, Dawn dish soap does not remove super glue. So if any of you plan on dumping super glue all over yourself anytime soon, make sure you have something other than Dawn dish soap. Lesson learned. Add that to the book. Unfortunately, the calcium carbide pellets will not be here for a couple days from when this is being filmed. So in the meantime, I will probably work on getting the 3D prints designed. Maybe there's an existing one, I'm not sure. I doubt it. It's some special dimensions, but I'll see if there's some 3D print files that exist for this. If not, I'll make one. Shout out Autodesk Inventor. What a G that is. Make sure you come back for the next one. If I don't do this today, which I don't think I will, in the next one, we'll put the 3D printed stuff on. You should see maybe some footage of the 3D printer rolling. And then we'll get the flashback arrestor on the bottle and run the bottle in. And then probably sometime about a week from now, once we get the calcium carbide to go into our, well, combustion bottle, I guess. It's probably gonna explode. Then we'll get started, and eventually we'll mount our spark box, get some spark, get some gas, blow some stuff up. Ideally, the temperatures for this should reach hot enough to melt some types of metals. Probably an aluminum can or something. We'll set up, practice that at some point, as I just ripped that shit right off. So yeah, stay tuned for sure. Should be pretty interesting. Again, I appreciate anybody that tuned in. Maker Undergrad. Remember the name. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Like if you want to see me do more stupid stuff. And get my other college boy over here to double the fun. I have some ideas for some projects that could be more of a competitive thing. So you might see that.